better than that.
Well, I got failing grades about every day not last
We did not.
You
grade.
got bad grades.
And
We
then
did not.
she cheat for a week. She said my math textbook comes with me every single day.
We did
Was
not
Leah very happy?
grade.
Leo was not very
Leo was
happy.
very happy. We did not grade anything but quizzes and self-tests and tests.
Okay,
You
it
didn't
sounds
grade
nice.
it?
If we were doing it like that.
But we had to go
scribble
back
through my
and
lessons.
correct everything that was wrong.
Okay, yeah, that sounds awful.
So there were days I did corrections until noon, and then after that I worked on my new stuff till 6 o'clock that night. It wasn't very fun.
You poor person.
That's why we grade this, so we don't have to put up with that. Also,
I bet I would get
That's how we
way
did
better.
it in
Have a stick.
But like
first
honestly,
grade book. We
What?
graded everything.
you want a stick?
Yeah.
It's your day for a stick?
Mr. Grant, honestly, if we had that system, I bet I'd get way better grades. Like, you
It's
know,
possible.
like,
I
you
know
know
what
how
you're
if I
getting
actually, like, look down at something and try, I can usually get 100 on it? Well, like, you just don't do that on a regular lesson. So then that's what pulls my
Should.
grades in.
All right. So number 1A on page 42 was done for you, correct?
That's
Or no? Never mind.
Yeah.
it was.
1A was done.
There was, I think the whole part was. actually.
B, 0.0716, we did this in class, the 6 is repeating, and then that rounds to 0.072. Number 2 is 0.246, is repeating 6, rounds to 0.247. And B, 0.02125, rounds to 0.021. Yeah. If we worry. That would be funny. No,
I got the whole lesson wrong.
Number 3 is 0.54. And 5 is 32.11. 5 is 17.28. 6 is 11.865.
Number 7, good job, everybody. Let's move on.
Nice job, people. I will actually look at that later. I should have looked at it before, but I didn't. Make a note. Look at it again. 8 is supposed to be negative 3a minus 16. B, negative 5a minus 5b plus 5. And C, 5a minus 4b plus 14. 9, 180 degrees. 10, median. 11, hypotenuse. 12 is 1, 13, 32, B, 1,000 liters. 14, 8, B is 32, C is 9. 15, deca means 10, milli means 0.001, hecto means 100. I guess a milli means 1,000, but anyway. 16, 4,074. And that's what it adds up to. And then the lines underneath, you have 18,000 minus 13,000 equals 5,000. Problem with estimation.
I got that one right. I got the one about it wrong. I'm not sure how.
Did we do 17 in class?
I can't remember. It's supposed to be 46%.
What?
Did you get 52?
I got 51.
I got 54.
I
I
got
had
43.
54 and then I scribbled that out. And put 46.
Yeah, that's what was wrong.
Yeah.
I didn't tell you what the right answer was, but I told you it was wrong. We'll come back and look at that in a minute.
But is it wrong?
Yeah, it's wrong. I mean, if you don't have 46, it's definitely not right. 18, you should have $3.16 and $18.96. 19 should be $99.44.
I don't know how you got that, but
The price went up, so you must have added to, what do you have for 19?
I don't know what I did wrong. I just added 13 cents to 88.
You added 13 cents to 88? Okay. No comment. I'll allow you to make fun of your own self.
What did she
20.
I basically didn't do the plot.
Exactly.
Even though I have work
She
there.
has.
I do have work
What does
there.
your work say?
I don't know.
Well, I hope to talk to you about that here as well. All right. 20A. Your answer should be x equals 5/6, b is 24, c is 49.5. 21 is 36, 22 is 75, 23 is 1/4. 24.
I have 25 or 23.
It's looking for a fraction. So you're kind of ishly right, but they're looking for a fraction. 23 is what fraction? 92. You should have 25 over 92, and that'll reduce to 1/4. Anyway,
For 27, C, or,
we're not
27, 20, C, I have 49, remainder 1, 37. 38.
I have that too.
remainder 138. Take a half for that. Because your technical kind of is almost correct. Not in a good way, but pretty close. All right. 24. A is 1 over 32. B is 1 over 64. 25 is 30. B is 0. C is 60x. 26. The factors of 88 are 2, 2, 2, and 11. Factors of 132 are 2, 2, 3, and 11, with a GCF of 44.
Is that a point for ABC?
Yes, each one is a point. 27 is 1/3.
1/3. We did
One
that
of
in
three.
class and it came out to half.
Yeah, I remember we did that one in class. and it
I
came out-
remember.
It did actually come out.
All four of us remember.
We did that one in class.
Yes, we did. Hang on. What is going on?
It's for the 8.
Oh, I see what happened. Yeah, hold your own hand. Yep, I'm good. All right, 20. X is equal to or greater than 3, so we need a dot on your 3 and an arrow to the right. Fill in the dot. Say what?
We don't have that.
That's the point. 29 is x is less than 12, and 12 is a circle on the 12 and an arrow to the left. 30, A, 0.26, repeating 6.
I have 6, 6. But I don't have a repeating.
So what do you have for the next point?
0.027.
I'll live with that. You should put the repeating down, though. If it has a repeating, you should mark it as a repeating in the first line before you round it. B, 0.058, 3 repeating, and 0.058. 31, 0.15125, rounds to 0.150.
Rounds to 0.15.
151.
He was going good until I got that
You're going to go to page 40.
17.
Yeah, you're going to get them until I got 16. Yeah, 16.
Oh no. You're the longest.
We have a long day.
Oh my
Oh, Lord.
god. Rocket
Yeah.
jets, guys.
That's long.
There's better be luck to it.
There's 59.
Can we round that up
Just
to 60?
What was it? 59, keep it mathematically correct.
so, when do you call 4.5 off?
I would call it a 93.
But if you call 2
and 97.
97.
What would you call 6 now?
90.
figured, so I guess right.
So for
Yeah,
my
but
one thing to get 1,000% hasn't worked yet.
86. Yeah, the problem is you're still losing the same point.
I
You're just
know.
trying to trick your brain and it's not working because your brain knows you're being tricked.
Well, I know. Whatever. I know that I'm getting it wrong. I'm just doing that so that I can get 1,000%.
1,000.
Yeah. Isn't that worth like 100%? No.
100%, so we do math correctly.
So,
Yes?
It's 100.
Oh, like this interesting math problem I saw. So Jeff Bezos is worth how many billion? 200 billion?
yeah.
Around 200.
I've seen it before, but
Who?
$200 billion.
Who
It's
is?
worth a lot.
Jeff Bezos.
In that
Who's
thing.
that?
He's the richest man in the world. Like he owns Amazon.
He's
So I
rich.
am.
He's fairly wealthy, yes. He has some money. You know how many people there are in the world?
I think it blew up.
no, like a
7
lot.
million roughly.
Oh,
No.
Are you kidding me?
So if he
That's a
gave
lot.
everybody in the world $1, well actually, this is the way the problem if he gave everybody in the world $1 billion, he'd still have $193 billion. Yeah, his math isn't math.
Unfortunately, it's probably not gonna work out very good. It's not gonna work super good.
Yeah.
But, say what?
It'd be net, I know. We give everybody a million.
If he gave everybody $1 million, he would be in debt farther than that.
You could just give everybody in this room.
So here's, if you give everybody $100, that would be 700 billion.
What?
So he'd be 500 billion in debt.
Yes.
Poor guy.
So he can't, obviously he can't give everybody $100. He can give everybody $1, and then he'd be down to the 192 billion. If you think about how much money that actually is and how little difference that would make for you, you might as well keep his 7 million.
Yeah, I'll take a dollar from him. I would take it.
I take $100.
Only if he signed it.
Or just to make him poor.
No, I think the bonus is
I don't really give a
Not to make him poor.
Exactly.
Just like $193 billion.
So here's the interesting thing. Okay, so
Yeah, with all the newest tech and everything.
So like, there's some mansions. I'm not big on mansions and yachts. I don't know all the numbers, right? But I know I've heard of a mansion that was, well, actually I think a yacht. There was a yacht that was more. I'm gonna go with that. It was like $400 million. Which is, like, we think about that and we're like, yikes, that's radically expensive. $400 million that's a lot of money to just don't think about. We just don't work through those kind of numbers. But for him, proportionately, it's like this, all right? So 400 million, there's 1,000, there's hundreds, there's 400 million, and here's 200 billion. All right, so let's put this in numbers we can understand, all right? So get rid of all these, get rid of all these, and get rid of these, all right? So now we have 4 over 2,000. So now, imagine you have $2,000 in your bank account, which shouldn't be hard. That'd be like buying something worth $4.
Oh,
So for him, buying a $400 million yacht is the same as you buying something worth $4 once you have $2,000 in your bank account.
Pretty sure the last one was $4. Is it really expensive?
That's all
so
I'm
you can
saying.
just spend money and spend money and spend
You
money.
can't spend it as fast as you can make it.
That's true, but
Yeah.
But if you
but
have that
how
much
much is
money,
he
you
making
must,
a day?
you must be
Well,
getting.
so that's the trick.
getting it all.
So he's on a salary. He put himself on a salary, right? As CEO of his company. His taxes say he makes $80,000 a year. All this extra money that he has is in stocks. He doesn't actually have that money. He's worth that much. If he would sell all his stocks, he could have that much. But he makes $80,000 a year on the salary. So if he wants something else, he goes just doesn't sell some Amazon stocks, and then he has money. But
Yeah, but then he has to buy everything for Amazon.
Right. So this keeps his taxes actually pretty low. Yeah.
He probably cheats on his taxes too.
No, that's not cheating.
There was like,
He doesn't have to pay tax on his money until he actually has this money. He doesn't have this money.
I know, but he probably cheats on the money he has.
There was
Gotta get
a-
it somehow.
there was a guy fighting for inequality, or like he was fighting for equality and he wanted the rich to be getting less rich. That's what he wanted. Yeah, that's kind of what he wanted. So he was like, America has a deal with the wealthy. We cut down on their taxes and in turn they inspire us with their huge mansions. It's such boring.
Alright, let's talk about number 17. On page 44. This eraser is losing its erasiness.
You should wash
It needs to be, yes, cleansed. Alright. So, how are we going to do this? Somebody explain it to me.
Um,
So what are the rules?
1.3 over 6.7.
France makes how many pounds of cheese? 3.1 billion?
3.1 billion pounds.
Okay.
That's
And
what
the
I
United
thought.
States.
It's 6.7 billion pounds.
Right. So this is how we want to write that, right? You can do 3.1 over 6.7. And we're looking for a percent, right? So basically, what this means, Richard, stick with us. So this, I know, Taskmaster over here, and things. So 3.1 over 6.7, basically, we just put that into a percent equation. We can go to n over 100, or we can just simply go 3.1 divided by 6.7.
Oh, that's where I went wrong.
0.
I like did something like 3,100
What,
divided by 6.7 or something odd, and I still came up with 43%.
Well, I want you to try that on a calculator and see what you come up with. Just 3.1 divided by 6.7. You can go 31 divided by 6.7 as well. What do you have? 40, 45, 46 even?
Maybe, whatever. My calculator has 0.4626865657.
what is it, yes, world
Alright.
calculators.
Calculators, lying, cheating things, always coming out with numbers that you don't come out with. Expressions that include exponents. Alright. We're going to go to page 46.
Can you just skip the new part and go
No.
on?
Yeah, there we go.
That'd be a no for me, dog.
You're like that phrase.
That's a good one.
That's
No
not
for
for
me,
me,
That's a
dog.
no for me, dog.
On that one, he was like, he saw the lizard and it was creeping up on him. Aha! What's in the for me, dog?
Alright. So here's the deal. Basically, one of the rules with algebra, which is what we're learning, is that if you have an expression that has a whole bunch of different terms, you can combine them the same as any other thing. So if you have, for example, 3x plus 4 minus 3x plus 5x, we know that we can combine all these x's. Actually, I gotta include my negative in there. First of all, these cancel each other out, but whatever. If they did, we'll make that
It's just
positive
five.
instead. So we can lump all these x's together, and they all come out to 11x. Right? So then we can simplify this as 11x plus 4. Right? As simple as hum. So now we're just going to add one more detail. Very simple. One more simple detail. They're adding one simple detail at a time, so they're not to overwhelm you. All right? I know. Thoughtful. 6x squared plus 3x minus 4x squared
Are they gonna do like
minus
you?
2 plus
What happened?
6x.
For
All
now.
right?
Are they gonna throw like super
Right
math
now,
right?
Oh yeah, they might. Here's the deal: is you can only combine them. Your life is very rough. If you need more.
I don't need more.
That's a good use
Things.
of coffee. Dump it on the
I'm glad it's right.
Do you make a big pot?
The unfortunate thing is you have to keep using your MacBook for a decent amount of time.
No, I did write it too bad actually.
So here's the deal.
Just wrapped it all the way.
If it has the same variable and the same exponent, like in this situation right here, we can combine them, right?
Negative 2x squared.
No, this is not negative.
So it would be positive.
So this is a positive. This is a negative 4x squared. This is a positive 6x squared.
X.
So you want to put 2x squared. And now because these have the same variable and the same exponent 1, we can combine those as well. So that comes to
Plus 9x.
plus 9x. Right. So we just put the 3x and the 6x together. That's 9x. Then we only have one little constant left here, and we'll call that minus 2. Right? So you can combine constants, but you can only combine things in an expression if they have the same variable and the same exponent. All right? It's simple. That's the rule. And it's a constant rule. It doesn't change in addition and subtraction. So if you're simplifying your exponents, they have to have the same variable and the same exponent.
Can we skip 2B?
No, 2B looks like fun.
Terrible. Okay, how are you supposed to like order them?
Okay, so
Smallest exponent first.
they actually have the largest exponent first, which I'm not sure why.
That's not smart.
So why would they do that? I don't know. I guess because they're working towards x and 0. That's not a big deal. So for b, if you were to simplify that though, Leah, how would you simplify 1b?
1B.
So you have,
3A squared plus 7 plus 7.
okay, but the thing is you have to combine your 7 and your 3, right?
Okay, then.
Because
Plus
those have the same.
10 then.
I guess you can look at them and say, oh, they have the same variable and the same exponent, as in they don't have either one. All right? Perfect. So yes, 3a squared plus 10 would be 1b. What about 2a?
What are we doing?
3A squared plus
On
10.
page 47.
And we're doing
2a, I said. Chris, why don't you give that one to me?
That'd be negative 6C2. What's hard?
No, that would be negative 3c squared.
Well, I'm figuring this out in my head.
Okay, I'm like,
Negative 3 cubed plus 14.
Did we already do 2B?
Or negative, yeah.
No, it'd be negative
We just
6
did
squared plus
1B.
3C squared plus 14.
All right, so it's
Oh, okay.
positive 3c cubed, right? Because you're doing the largest exponent first, which I don't know why.
Yeah.
Positive 3.
oh, I missed
Don't
the.
put your positive, just put 3c cubed, all right? But it is positive because your cube, that's all you have, is a positive 3c
Then
cubed.
add 14. Plus 14?
No, then you have your c squared, right?
That's negative.
So you combine your c squares, you have a positive and a negative. So you have your negative 6 and your positive 2, so Leah came up with the right answer, she said negative c squared. No, negative 6c squared, my bad. And then you have your plus 14. So you would write that down. 3c cubed minus 6c squared plus 14.
Yeah. Oh, shoot.
That's how you would write that down. The thing that you have to keep your eyeballs on, and the things that can sometimes slip away from you, is the fact that that one's a cube and that one's a square. At least it always does for me. Sometimes I'll
Yeah. It did.
see double or something, and then they look different than they do. All right, Cody, give me 2B.
Okay. So it would start out with. Ooh, there's a 4 in there and a 3 and a 4 in there. Okay.
So you-
That's weird.
You would call that x to the 4th.
Negative x, negative 3x to the 4th?
No. Okay, let's write it out on the board now. Then we can work this out, and then we can all see it. Can you tell me what it is, what the numbers are for 2b?
Negative 7x4 would be the first one.
I want to know what all the numbers are. So we have x squared.
Plus 2x squared. Minus 8x.
Dumb.
Minus 3x.
Minus 8x.
Dumb, dumb.
Hang on.
Minus 3x.
I'm one behind you. Minus 3x to the fourth.
Plus 7x to the third cubed. Plus 4x to the third, fourth, whatever it is.
Is that it?
No. 4x. Oh no, minus 3.
Minus 3.
Minus 3.
All right. So it's not that hard, all right? You just have to sort it out and just work through it, okay? So you look at this, you know that these ones go together, and actually that's a negative 8 because it has a negative in front of it. And this one. So that's what you start with, because that's got the biggest exponent.
11.
All right? So here we have negative 11 plus 4.
It'd be negative 4x.
Negative 4?
It'd be negative 7x.
Yeah.
7x. Negative 4x.
7x to the fourth. Okay, so now we'll do this one. That's the next biggest one. The next biggest one is 3.
Plus x.
7x
Cubed.
cubed.
Plus 7.
And now we'll do the squared. We have
Which
just
would be
these two
3x
put
squared.
together.
Which would be 3x squared. Plus
Right.
3x.
Plus 3x squared, because those are both positive.
Minus 3.
And then
Minus
3.
3.
So that's your answer for 2b. That's as simple as it'll get. But you just have to just simply take it a step at a time and simplify. Richard, do 3a for me, please.
Man. Oh, yikes.
Actually, why don't you come on up here and do it? 3a.
That's funny.
3A. What is 3A?
Hey, I'll write it up here for you. 3a is going to be 6a squared plus.
Why do we put the biggest one first?
Um,
Makes sense to put the smallest one first. Just to give it a fair chance.
The truth of the matter is it doesn't matter. It'll come out the same either way because of the, we call it commutative.
Okay.
Excuse me.
I like really have no clue how to do this.
All right, so you just start with the biggest exponent and you combine the two of them that have the biggest exponents. All right, so you look at them.
Oh, yeah,
Right.
okay. So,
So you have a positive 6 and a negative
5 and 2.
precisely. And then do the next one small, which is going to be that's correct.
That's all there is to it.
That's all there is to it.
We don't have to finish those together.
You don't have to match anything else.
Why not?
We have to do that eventually.
You probably actually won't have to do it in the scope of this course. We're probably going to change that. I'm going to hold off on that little hunk of information until algebra 1 or 2. But
Hopefully it's in algebra 2 or something. So we don't have to learn.
at any rate. All right. Who did I miss?
Nobody. There's no, we did 4, I think.
Correct?
Okay. All right. Do the last one by yourself. 3b. But I want to hear your answers.
Yeah, I have my answer ready.
And way clever with them.
Okay, my answer is not here
Plus
ready.
8 squared.
Then in number 4, they're doing them vertically, which honestly is way too easy and it's probably cheating.
It's actually
But
Yeah, I'm probably gonna get them wrong.
because they line up all the variables for you, which whatever, it works fine. It helps you to kind of visualize what's going on. We won't run into that.
Okay, I have my answer.
Everybody's done with 3B?
I have an answer, just
Yep.
don't know if it's right.
Yeah.
Okay. Cody, give me your answer for 3B.
6y cubed minus 4y squared minus 3y.
Precise.
What the? I'm not following him.
6y cubed, so 6y to the third,
Okay.
minus 4y squared minus 3y. So you take your y cubed, but there's only one y cubed.
I get that, I got that.
So then
Minus
you
4y
do the
squared.
square. So you have, it's a negative 6y squared and a positive 2y squared. So you can mash them together, you get a negative 4y squared.
Yeah.
Right, so that's your next one. And then you have a negative 4y and a positive y.
What do you negative 4y?
Go through negative
I'm
3.
getting this now. I'm not sure why I sound. Okay. I need to
Um,
come on number 5.
I was just going to address that. Number 5.
How do you do those?
What's the decimal equivalent
It'd
to
be-
5 and 1/6?
It'd be 5.16. No, it'd be 0.0516.
What? Okay.
5 and 1/6%.
0.0516 would be the answer.
Oh, I see. Yes, I remember.
So basically, you remember that 1/6 is 0.16 repeating, right?
Yeah, so it'd be 5.
So you go 5, and because the 5% is 0.5. Right? So as you start here,
It's really
it's 5 and 1/6%, and then you just move the decimal point. Then round to your hundredth place. Thousandths place? My bad, yes.
So for.
Sorry, you blew up.
That's what I'm saying.
Sorry, my bird.
Number.
So for number to B, it'd be 0.09625.
Yes.
So okay, we can round to.
Alright, and work out the rest of them yourself. Number 7 and 8, just remember that it's 3/8 of a percent.
What?
3/8% of 8,000, so so that's gonna be a decimal round to the nearest thousands. So what's our decimal equivalent to 3/8%?
Is it 37 and a half?
Well, that's a decimal equivalent to 3/8. 375, 0.375. But we're looking at 0.375%. So what do we do?
1, 2, doink, doink to the left.
Doink, doink. That's what I'm saying. So 0.00375, so we'll round that to the nearest thousands, which would be 0.0004, because that's bigger than 5. So you go this number times 8,000. Very small.
And it still comes out.
Should come up with an even number.
What's 5?
For 5/8? Where's 5/8? Oh, there it is. I know what it is.
What is it? 62 and a half.
65, yes. 0.625 would be the decimal. In 22B. Yes. 22B. What is, how many square inches are in a square foot?
144.
Remember that number.
How many square inches are in a square foot? 144.
144. Remember not to
What number?
number 22B. And remember to use your formula on number 28. And 9 months is what fraction of a year?
Right?
9 months.
3/4. And we're using, we need a decimal for that. 3/4. It's the decimal equivalent of 3/4 is
What
1.75.
the world? On number 7, are they wanting the answer? Like, what are they wanting? The answer would be 32, right?
Could be.
I'm not right.
Well, I can't tell you in front of everybody else.
Right, you can give us the answer.
I want them to find it, not.
Are they wanting the answer, or they want?
They want the answer, yes.
Okay, yeah, yeah.
I want the actual number.
I think it's
And
So, for 17B, that square is the square thing for the entire. Like, why do they have the square thing there in
Where?
parentheses?
where the hell is it?
Okay, well,
Which number are you on?
okay, never mind, I was seeing things. I was on 17 and I was going 4 times 4 equals 16, and then I went 16 times 16, and I was trying to figure out why.
Yeah, you want to not do that. For number 18, I do want to give you a little word of wisdom there as well. So the list price versus the actual final price. They say 15% of the car's price was taxes and fees, which is rat, but it's the way life works. So that means what they're looking for is, so they have a $20,000 car.
But how do you
right?
even figure that out?
Hang on. They have a $20,000 car, that's what they want to pay for in the end. 15% of that is taken off to show the list price, right? So we can just multiply this by, rather than multiplying by 15% and subtracting
Percent
You
portion?
just multiply that 0.85.
by 0.85, right? Because 100 minus 15 is 0.85.
You go 20,000.
25 minus 15 is 0.85, or 85 by 10. So you just multiply 20,000 by 0.85 to find the original list price
Which problem is this?
per 18.
Shouldn't that's the answer for 18?
Once you multiply that.
Yeah. If you multiply.
Oh, I have to.
Can't multiply it for you.
Well, you know what?
Because I love you too much to do away work for you.
Can't you?
Have to, like I said, they do. All right.
God said I have to, so I guess I don't have a choice.
All right. Today is an easy one. You should have done this before, I think, probably. Probably at least. And it's short. Only 43 problems. What's the catch? Where's the hard one? I'm not seeing it.
32.
I'm just thinking like, oh,
Value of an unknown number of quarters.
Hey, look at that, I have a question what you said, they just came through.
That's the only one I didn't.
Okay, so the problem, so what is a quarter worth?
4.
No, they're talking quarter
25.
money, right? Close.
25 cents.
I think they're gonna be shooting for, hang on a second. I'm
Be
pretty sure what they're
left.
looking for. Make sure we're in that line for you. Yes. So the number of quarters obviously is unknown, right? So your number of quarters as what?
Yeah.
How? Right. And or Q or whatever.
Wait, it's
And-
one of those I have?
It's not one.
It's not one of those. It's one of those other ones.
Assign variables to the unknown, then translate the expression.
I look here, because I look back on it.
I know, they
It's
always-
one of those.
The unknowns here, this is what they're saying.
Look,
This is what
I
they
went
have.
to 2.13, they must have cheated.
Yeah, they keep going back to 2.13 and then we learned that
Because
after that.
2.13 is,
Because 2h plus 4 would be.
It's just
2.5
like-
plus 4. That's
not
not
that.
They don't have that at all. What they have is,
What's 30, what do they have for 33?
they have 2n minus 4.
That's what I
Okay,
have.
that's what I have.
too.
Oh, I have 2 anyway. Okay.
Translate the expression. Yeah, I mean, so no, what they have for 33 is they have the number equals n, and then twice the number less 4 is 2n minus 4. That's what they have.
What do they have?
They have the number equals n, and then twice the number less 4 equals 2n minus 4.
Who would just write 2 numbers? I don't, our books must be different.
Yeah, because they didn't start making us do that.
It's possible. It's very possible. All right. So the number of quarters though is q. You're right. So the value is
Q equals B.
okay. So but the value of each quarter is what?
Q equals 25.
0.25. So the value of an unknown number of quarters. Once we know the number of quarters, we just multiply it by 0.25 to find our answer. So what they're shooting for here with the value of an unknown number of quarters is 0.25 q.
Q.
Yeah, q.
Oh,
As
Q.
a cube like this. Or if you have 0.25 n, that'll work as well. Because the variable is q.
Equals Q?
No,
Just 0.25 q. Actually, 1/4 q would probably also work. But
And I actually, number 7.
I just have X and Y.
that's what I have.
I have X
And all the other ones can.
For number 7?
Yeah. The others can cancel each other out.
Yeah, no, that's why it's correct.
Mr. Kenneth,
Sir,
number 32 is, so they have,
hang on, wait, it's not XY. They have an XY and an XY, so it's 2XY.
2x plus
The XY plus XY would be 2XY.
2x.
See?
Oh.
You wind up with XY and XY,
Yeah, that makes sense.
2XY. Okay, Richard, back to you, briefly.
so for 22, do they want, so it says they spread icing between each layer. So does that, so are we supposed to count? So like, so basically they're gonna have, I don't know how to say this. So you're gonna have like one piece of cake, you're gonna ice the top of that. Are you gonna ice the bottom of the other one and count that too, or what?
No, I think just the top and then one.
On page 30 and
Stop. You don't frost the bottom.
Yeah, it
That's
says.
the top of it.
I know, I'm the other one.
So each one,
I was just wondering if they're gonna count that, because there's technically gonna be frosting on
I don't know, we're not counting that. Hang on. 14, 22 over 7 is 14.4. No, they're just doing one face. I think. Hang on. 5 times one. Yes.
alright. Let's check lesson 7. Number 1 is 11x plus 13. 2 is x squared plus 2x minus 12. 3 is 5x squared minus 5x minus 15. Yes.
I have a question.
Yes.
On 2x plus x squared minus 12, did you go x squared plus?
X squared plus 2x minus
Which is
12.
in
If you have 2x plus x squared, that's also fine.
Okay.
It looks like you go largest exponent to smallest, which, whatever, that's just the order they're doing it. Just for future reference if you want. Number 3, you got that one. Number 4, 6x squared minus 6x plus 10. So here you're going to get negative 6x plus.
Yeah. That's
6x
2x,
squared.
that's
No, that's wrong. Number 5, 8x cubed minus 5x squared plus 7x plus 4.
What was the name?
8x cubed minus 5x squared plus 7x plus 4.
And that's number 5.
Number 5. Number 6 is 8m cubed plus 2m squared plus 6m minus 7. Number 7, you should have 5 squared plus 7 plus m plus n squared. 8 should be 11 squared plus x times x times y times z cubed.
Okay, on number 7, what all those times do? Is it
No, those
five?
are supposed to be times.
Okay.
I just, yeah. Did it wrong. 9. 3 cubed times 7 times x to the 4th. 10. 30m to the 4th, n to the 5th, b. 11. 12m to the 4th, n. 12. Negative m cubed, n cubed. 13. Negative 2x cubed plus 8x squared plus 4x squared, y. 14. X plus 11. 15. 7 y cubed z over 3.
I don't know.
Say what? Yeah, there's a z cubed over z squared should be,
Yeah.
so that would come up to z on top.
But what I did with the negative
Go ahead and make a negative on it. Fortunately, there's 2 negatives. 16. Negative 8z plus 5x squared. The whole thing's a negative. Negative 8z over 5x squared. 17. 7 r to the 5th 18, x equals 8. 19, x equals negative 107 over 55.
I don't have x. I just have 107 over 55. Negative.
So you don't have x equals?
Yeah.
It's not following protocol. I guess a half is fine. 20 is 13 and 1/10. 21 is 13 over 15. 22 is 11 and 1/32. 23.
The 21, I didn't reduce it.
You got 52 over 60?
Yeah, is that?
That's a half.
I
Right?
have 12 and 19 over 32, I got all three wrong. I have so many wrong.
It's very unfortunate.
What was 22?
23, haven't gone there yet.
22.
22 is 11 and 1/32.
32?
32.
Oh, no.
No, 22, my bad.
Oh, it is 22?
22 is
I have
11. 11 and 1 over 32.
I don't know, 11 and 1 was 13.
I have 12 and 19 over 32.
So it is 11 over 1.
11 and 1/32. Is the correct answer. At least if it started out with 16 and 1/16 and minus 5.5 over 32. 23. That's one of those things where you just want to have the a plus 29. Is that what's going on?
These are the equals. Yeah, we might.
Okay, so Tara's age equals A, Nahor's age is A plus 29. 24, Ishmael's age is A, Isaac's age is A minus 14. 25, Carolyn's number correct equals N. Jim's number correct is N minus 7. 26, first number is N, second number is N plus 1. 27, Janice's score equals S, Carolyn's score is S plus 14. 28, 3.2 ounces per gallon, or 3.2 over 1.
1 over 60.
So what?
1 over 60.
Oh, you did ounces. 1 to 60. Actually, I told you to do ounces too, didn't I? Aha. I didn't look. 1 to 60. All right. Yes, so I think that's fine. If you have 1 to 60, it's also correct. Okay, correct that way. Oh, well, you're right. 29 is negative 295 feet. Now that team is 295 feet.
Do you have to have a negative? What was that? It was that.
Feet below.
It was 295 feet farther down. Something was dropping off.
I just have 295. How far did they drill it instead?
Yeah,
295 feet.
I can look at that. 30, 299 years. 31, index. 32, Vatican. 33. 33 is a polynomial with 3 variables of the 9th degree. 34, a trinomial with 1 variable of the 3rd degree. 35, a monomial with 1 variable of the 3rd degree. 36, 3r plus 10rs equals minus. Let me start over. 3r plus 10rs minus 3s squared plus 4. 37, 8y cubed minus 3y squared minus 7y plus 1. 38, 16x squared y plus not over 38 and 39. Perfect.
I did have 11. I'd rather have 2 extra points added off my
Well, let's check before you say. 30, and
But if they're wrong,
I'll give you extra credit for them.
If they're wrong, I'm not gonna count them.
Okay. 16x squared y plus 9xy minus 4xy squared minus 2. And 39 is x squared plus 2x minus y minus 2y squared. Y. Oh yeah, never mind. And then plus 7. Okay, so 37. So if you got both of those correct, I'll give you 30, I'll give you 39 to start with. But, what do you have, Christie?
7.
81. Christie? Half off, the 90. 99, yes.
11.5
And you were at 39? 7.5, so that'll leave us 72. It wasn't super. It wasn't stellar. All right, oh dear. What is this happening to me? Greatest common factor. So you should know how to find the greatest common factors, right? You factor your thing out, your number, and then you just figure out which ones are, what number the greatest. So the greatest common factor is say 32 and 16. It's pretty easy to find out. So first you factor 32. 32 factor, how do we do it? Lisa? 2. 16 here.
2, 4.
Precisely. So we would say our factors of 32 are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, right? So 2 to the 5th.
2.
So 2 to the 5th equals 32. All right. So here, we factor 16. So we can just start here, actually, honestly. Let's cross that off. And we have at least 2 to the 4th, correct?
I have no idea.
So it would just be,
Hmm?
I don't know what you're doing.
We're factoring. We're factoring
32 and 16.
and 16, right? So in this one, I just wiped this.
16?
So 16, factoring 16, we just do it the same way. I didn't do it wrong.
No, I mean, would 16 be the greatest common?
Right, the greatest common factor is 16, or there's one other way we can write it out. We can write 2 to the 4th, right? Because we use 2, and then we use the biggest the smallest exponent, one of the smallest exponents. So rather than the 5, we can't use the 5, but we can use the 4. So we can write the greatest common factor of 32 and 16 is either 16 or 2 to the 4th.
So like on number 1, it should be 5 squared.
I think
Number 1. So here's the thing with number 1 is they actually do want you to put the number down there rather than using the.
so 32. I have 8.
So for number 1, yes, you're looking for 8 because it's going to be 2 to the 3rd. 2 cubed is your greatest common factor for that one. However, I want to move on here and do some of the other ones, which the variables actually aren't hard. Only when they throw numbers out there that become difficult. Say what?
Like number 3, there's 3 different ones. You just use
Yes. So you factor all 3 of them, right?
that is.
So it's just like if we would throw. It's just if we would throw 24 in here, then all of a sudden it would change. So let's just do 24 here as well. 24. If we factor 24, what do we have?
2, 6, 2, 3.
All right. So we write that as 2 to the 3rd and 3, right?
And
So those
that's
are our
the
factors.
biggest one.
Now this is all of a sudden our biggest one. So now our greatest common factor here, it can't be this one because we found one that's smaller. So our greatest common factor is going to be 2 to the 3rd or 8.
Which one are you?
None.
Oh.
This is for demonstration purposes. I'm just saying, if you have 3 of them, you can also find the greatest common factor. It's just that you have to use. And see how the 3 doesn't even come into play at all because there's not a factor of either one of those, so you can't use it. All right. So here's the deal. When you start using ones like in number 5, that's when it gets a little more interesting. It's not particularly complicated. You just have to keep your wits about you. All right. So let's just go ahead and do that one here. I want you to try to follow along if you can. So we're dealing with these 3 numbers: 63 x to the 5th.
36x squared y.
X squared y.
9xy to the 6.
Thank you very much. All right. So the first things we do is we factor the numbers. All right. So factor 63. Christie?
Use 3.
I would use 3, yes.
So 2 and 1, 3, 7.
All right, so our factors for 63 are,
3 squared, 5, 7.
all right, and now we just take this, x to the 5th as well, right? So it's factored. The whole thing's factored. 3 squared times 7 times x to the 5th. We'll factor 36.
2,
Jersey.
2,
That's a good idea, too.
1, 8, 2, 9, 3, 3.
So our factors for 36 are going to be
2 squared times 3 squared times x squared times
right. So that's factored completely out. Good job. And Lisa, 9. Right. 3 and 3. So we're going to have 3 squared times x times
y to the 6.
y to the 6. Correct.
The y still better.
Hmm?
Because they're not the
Right, so here's the deal. So we look at them and we see what they have in common. Obviously, there's no y's in this one, so that means we cross out all the y's. We're not going to use any y's at all. All right?
And the 7.
And the 7 we also can't use. We're going to cross that one out. And
The 2.
the 2 squared, which would be 4 actually. Oh no, never mind. 2 squared. Yes, we have to. Yes, we have to lose that. All right. Now,
What if?
we're left with x squared, x, and x to the 5th, and then 3 squared. Right? So we just pull the smallest one from each one. All right? So we have 3 squared 3 times, so we can use that one. So we can 3 squared, we write it as. Right. So 3 squared is 9. And then we have x squared for x to the 5th and x, so we use our smallest one, x. So our greatest common factor for that one is 9x. For number 5, your greatest common factor is going to be 9x. So it's not hard, it might take a little bit of time.
But then I'm like number 4.
Number 4. All right, so that one's really easy because we don't have to factor any numbers. All right, so we just use our smallest factor. So we have m squared, right? N, and we have mn squared. Is that correct?
Yeah.
All right, so what we do basically, we take our n, because that's our smallest factor, we can write this out like this if you want. And so n is our smallest factor here, and m is our smallest factor here. So we would write this as mn because algebraically. So that's factored. I mean, that's the greatest common factor is mn. Like I said, it's not hard to work through. Number 10. Oh, I wrote that. Lisa, walk me through that one.
2.
Why is it not minus, and why is it not negative 2? Is it?
It's absolute values.
It's the absolute value of 4 minus 6. So we have negative 2, the absolute value of negative 2, which is 2, right? 12 divided by 3. The absolute value of 12 divided by 3, is that going to change anything? What's the absolute value of a positive number? The absolute value is always positive. And the absolute value is always the distance from 0, right? But in this case, you have 12 divided by 3, which are both positive. So it's just 4. That's the value of 4, which is just honestly just plus 12. So 2 times 4 is
8.
so 8. Yeah, make sure you do these first. 8 plus 12 is 20. Precisely.
It is 7x squared plus 8x.
Yes. Hang on.
That's what I have.
Oh, never mind. Yep, no, it's, I was looking at something else, I was looking at 9, I thought it was 10. They're different answers, you're not the same. Alright, number 20. Number 20, that one goes listed.
Oh, 13.
Precise.
When it says twice a number,
Twice a number.
does that mean times 2?
Right. If it would say a number times itself, that'd be something different. But twice a number is 2n. A number squared is n squared. Or a number times itself would be n squared. But twice a number is 2n. I suppose we could do n plus n as well, but it's not concise. And I'll probably count it wrong. It's raining again.
So on their number chart, do they go by 10s or by 5? Or on their, whatever.
On the graph, they go horizontally, which doesn't really matter. And they go by, they count by twos.
What?
I guess, right?
I guess I'll have to
I guess if you go going by 5s vertically, you probably also work with them. But yeah, they went horizontally by twos.
I need help on number 2. So where did I go from here? 3 and 7.
Right, so there's a 3, 1.
Yeah.
So yeah, 3 and 7 is all you get out of the deal. You just take the smallest one from
Okay, so that's, you
both. 3
just,
times 7 is
3 times 7 is 21, but I don't know what I'm doing. You just go,
so no 3 squared.
you just use the values the same.
Yep, that's fine.
Okay, so 7 and 30.
Yeah,
So then it'd be 21.
precisely.
Awesome. I'm not sure if I know what I'm doing.
Well, sometimes that's the way that works. Who's doing this at the deck? Cody? I think. For recess?
What's that?
Who's boss? I'm the boss, look. It is time for recess, yes.
What? Is it cold and raining outside? Yeah, I was playing outside.
great.
I know, I've always started with these, I can get the other ones.
So then I'm at number 3, and that's 2. 2 times 5 times 2 times 5 times 3.
I got number 4.
Are we gonna play outside?
What would we do if we play inside?
Mr. Kitten, so for this one?
This doesn't seem that bad, but should we make one go all?
So it's 2 keys.
Which stick and pull out there?
Can I just get my 5 and just get my 2s?
You have to use one of the twos. Because,
I have to.
yes.
So I have to go 5 and 2.
Okay, two wedding, but no 7, because this one was 7.
It doesn't matter what side I use, I just have to use the
The smallest one, yes.
So it's the 10.
Right. I guess we can play spike ball. I can work with that. Probably should be hard-hearted, but I'm just not going to do today. We'll run around the building later.
But you don't like volleyball or soccer.
So I come in, I did.
That one day I was done. The one day I didn't like.
Didn't want to play anything anymore. Just want
Yeah.
to curl up in the corner and give up.
Yeah, I did. I don't know.
Where do
God.
Lucy, you should have come last night. It was a party. My back and my arms and my legs were all sore. How was the marshmallow fight? It was so much. Really? That was such a neat idea. Sometimes I regret it. Well, he just kept shooting right. I'm like, I'm not practice the freeway he would squish. Now, do you think those things so crazy? Who? Angie? No. That, Julie? Yeah. That he was squishing them in his right hand and then throwing them. That is gross. That is. Wait, he missed with every. He missed me though.
Who?
That guy.
Julian?
Yeah.
Yeah, where did it?
No, it was Janice got me. But it wasn't.
No, but
fair.
he got you before. Julian got you
No,
before.
he never.
In the dress before too.
That's why you don't count it in the dress because you don't feel
No,
it.
I got it. I saw it hit you like pretty hard.
Well, I didn't feel it.
Well, then what counts after that? Your leg or your arm?
Yeah, it's not fair if it hits your dress because you don't feel
And
it.
they're marshmallows. They're so
Huh?
light,
Yeah,
how do you not? Or you're- of course you're not
And he
right.
was shooting
You're
down
not
one. He
ball.
overshot almost
It's
every
not
time.
fair. That's because you're definitely
like a frisbee.
Whatever, but Dad was taking what was
I used to
videoing
get
it, and he
so
said that it
mad.
was because he was shooting
When
down.
I would just.
Like he wasn't.
And
he was
going
going
on
on
her
Nope,
card too.
Nope, that's my dress.
You got
My dress. Not my dress, neither.
Titus and Jackson were still
I remember one year.
They came over for lunch. Titus, Scrub, and Jackson were
Where?
Oh, how did that go? It was actually quite interesting. Titus talks a lot.
Why were they?
Well, Titus and Dad are friends, and Jackson and Titus are friends, so Jackson.
No, but why did they come for lunch? And that fly loves Christopher.
That's what Titus kind
It's like, there's got to be a copy of it.
Yeah, but there's no space on that, so.
Yeah, but I drank coffee and I couldn't go to sleep and
Don't tell him that.
I brought
Where did
okay.
Randy's?
This bike one might actually be outside.
No, I don't know.
we should play spike ball in here. Last year we did that all the time.
We did that last year, remember?
That was pretty hard. You got a 40? Not yet. This is the clothing and more
I'm working on it.
Alright. We're going to play inside of 7 play. Let's go.
supposed to tire us out.
Put it out there. Oh, this.
Really time to quit running. Here he comes. I know one thing that I don't ever want to do.
What's that?
Spider-Man.
Oh,
Ever.
yes. I
For
will
some
stay up.
reason, that's a special kind of terror. Your
What?
teacher.
Your teacher chasing you around the corner with a cup of coffee? You're supposed to see how Canada game? I never did.
Hit my hand.
All I need is a big old bullwhip or something to crack because I chase people around.
I got
You
one
ready?
I got one that'll chase you around with.
I would just skip
You ever-
behind you and just run
You ever
behind
read
you.
the Laura Ingalls Wilder book where? Laura Ingalls, no, it's
That's all man.
all Manzo.
Farmer boy.
Farm Boy, where the
Big
Bad
boys
boys.
got whipped.
bad boys are being.
I remember that. It's just a terrifying
Unfortunate.
part of the story.
I always thought it was hilarious.
Well, when I was younger, it was
The teacher hauled out the little black snake.
It was
whip
hard.
and pow!
It was funny before I went to school.
Yeah.
Ah, now I run the big boys.
Grace, did you pick out the recording?
No. I didn't either. And then I did 38. I did in the 140. Or oppressed peoples. I finally got my.
I don't What's reading? I want to see her. I just know that one.
Yeah. Taskmaster.
How long?
Do you know about the recording though?
Huh?
Number 40,000.
What is it?
New car?
Okay. So you use numbers? Do you factor them?
Yeah.
They come due? Okay. They have letters and variables as well. Factor them.
No. They can't figure that out.
Okay, so it's really easy. This is 7 times y cubed times z squared. Right now it's factored. Just how many multiplies in between.
But they all have a Y in
So
it.
here's the deal. They all have a y.
But
See,
they
it
don't all have
has
a Z.
one y. So if you don't have a z, then the z goes out. The z disappears. So which ones are your different ones?
This is one, this is one.
Okay, gotcha. So it has x. So what's your smallest x?
That one.
Okay. So x squared
X squared Y.
and y.
Right. Y, there's two Y's.
The y and a y and a y cubed. So yeah, y is the smallest one there. So it's x squared y. And then you have to use.
Or do you have to have it like that?
Well, here's the deal. You use the biggest. So this one doesn't have any 2's, right? Nor does it have any 3's. And 5. So but that means you can't use the 2, you can't use the 3, because these ones want 5s, you can't use the 5. So you gotta use a 7. They all have 7s.
So 7x squared.
7x squared y. Yes.
And this one, 9 is still smaller. 3 times 3 is 9, right?
Mm-hmm.
9 is still smaller than 11.
Okay, but 11 y or what? That doesn't matter. See, 11 is a factor. 11 is a prime number. Truthfully, if you had 107, that would also be a factor.
So this one, there's no letter 2, so you cross out my 2. There's no letter 5, so you cross out your 5.
Right.
This is the dividing one. Right here,
So you have
3 is
11.
my smallest. 11 is my smallest, and 11 is my smallest.
So you have 11 to the 1. So basically, you have to treat those all as different factors, right?
That's what I'm doing.
So here, so the factors, give me the factors of all of them.
Of 66, it's 2, 3, and 11.
All right, what, do we have any? Okay, so yeah, that's just the way it is.
Then 99 is 3 squared times 11.
All right,
And then 55 is, I just have 5 and 11.
right.
They all have 11.
Alright, so here's the deal. They all have 11s, so you're going to use an 11.
Yeah.
They don't all have 2s,
Nope.
and they don't all have 3s, and they don't all have 5s. So your factor is 11.
No, it is.
Black City.
They all have to have one of those numbers.
Okay, so then in 40, why did you tell Lisa that X squared is 1?
There's
Well,
only
that's
2 X.
There isn't an X in all of them.
Okay, I guess I misread her penmanship or something, but if there's no X in all of them, you can't have an X.
So just a what?
It's just a
I would need my, let me look. You said that's 40?
Write that down for 40.
Right, what? 11, 1?
7X.
No, not 7X. There's no X.
7Y.
Just 7Y, yeah. Just 7Y because, yeah, so once you factor them all, 7's all that's left.
I think it's gonna be a bad lesson tomorrow,
I hope not.
just because of all of them.
All right. By the way, they said if you wind up with extra time,
What about literature?
I'm more concerned about algebra.
One lesson.
I know I'm trying to send a quiz. I'm still more concerned about algebra, but you that one early in the week. And then after that, I want to work on English and then literature.
So it's less than.
Right. I don't think we're going to do Bible this week.
We are?
I don't think so.
Okay.
Just because there's some other stuff I want to do today rather than Bible. Alright. I want to study for the social studies test. And
Wednesday.
Bible test tomorrow. So during Bible period today, we're going to study for that and have a test tomorrow.
Was our story supposed to be down here?
I didn't get that, language, narrative.
It's
Yeah,
a,
that narrative. I never-
it's a, no, there's a quiz today. Has to be done, should be done tomorrow. All right. Reading.
So just one literature lesson, 2 literature lessons and a half to be
Yes. Say what?
tomorrow.
Can we hold off on reading for a little bit?
No, it's not good. There's no reason to mess up everybody's schedule.
I have a couple reads.
Plenty of time later to do it. Mr. Martin.
I live in a real big problem.
When you get a chance. Page 17. Number 1. We want to check. All right. Number 1. Obligation to someone. You with us, Chris? No, you are. Perfect. Number 1 is obligation to someone. 2, dilapidated, is ruined as a result of neglect. And number 3, domain, an area of activity or knowledge.
What was the number 2?
Number 2, to fall into ruin as a result of neglect.
I have fallen into disrepair.
As a result of neglect? Okay. Replace that with ruin. Don't count a point for that. Number 4 is master and house. Number 5, A is dominion, B domineering, and C is non-dominant. Number 6. Oh, what do you have as an example for no chairs there, Leah?
Zero pillows or blanket.
Cody, what do you have for warm carpet?
I buy a small rug or just live with that.
And we have for no table, Richard.
Even living.
Oh, that'll work. And pick your favorite, Chris. Well, there's 3 options. You can pick your favorite. Yep. Yep.
No chairs or a stand or a seat, or sit on a box or something.
Number 9, children. Number 10, she traveled widely during her life.
Hey, so for 9, I have New England, because it said that, by the way. What's the
New England people.
Yeah.
Okay, write in children. Don't worry about the point. Number 11 is third person. 12, B. 13, you're the hardest working and the thriftiest.
What was it called?
12 is B. 14, A. 15, C. 16. So what?
What was 14?
14 is A. 16. Why is that idiom an understatement?
Because they're dealing with a lot more than just milk. Yeah.
Losing your house is much more serious than spilling.
I have the one that's spilled milk there losing my house.
Yes. So an understatement is just so one of the finest ways to do humor is understating things, right? Rather than exaggeration, it's boring. Anybody can do exaggeration. It takes a true artist to understate things correctly. So the whole thing about crying over spilled milk is obviously super understated. I mean, so the reason you're not supposed to cry over spilled milk is because there's milk tomorrow, right? There's not necessarily a house tomorrow. Crying over losing your house isn't entirely wrong, I don't think. Anyway, so that's why it's an understatement. 17. He loves to read. 18. They seem to be chatting quietly, or their feathers look like gray shawls and red bonnets.
I have they were fussing and clucking.
I have they were noisy.
I have them cluck to each other like.
Lots of old women are noisy.
That's true.
I have they were fussing and clucking.
I actually like that one.
I have they cluck to each other like they're one.
Yeah, I'll look at those. 19. David. Oh, Dad. They have dad in parentheses, so. Oh, David is dad. D. I get you. Right. 20. Susan. Correct. 21. David or dad and I. 22. David or dad and I. 23. John. I. 24. Susan. I. 25. John. Steve.
Are those a half point?
Hold. Every wise woman builds her house. B. A foolish woman plucks her house down with her hands. 27. Susan was like the wise woman. 28. What do you have, Chris?
I bet you didn't know about what they did now.
Yeah, that'll work.
And for 27, I have write a proposition. Well, like they said, write a proposition,
Mm-hmm.
which states which woman is like. So both of those above it were propositions, right?
Right. So a proposition.
So I wrote a proposition. I didn't just put wise.
Did you say you didn't write a proposition?
I did write a proposition. It's like, what did it have in the answer?
Susan was like the wise woman. That's the proposition you're making.
I have every wise woman makes do with what she has.
That'll work. But the problem is, it's not really talking about Susan.
This says what the woman Susan was like. It said, didn't it say it had to do with talking about Susan?
I think it should. I really want one that's a proposition about especially what Susan's like, though. We take a half for that. You're not completely wrong. You're not completely off the mark, but you're not completely on it either. hitting a home run, except he didn't. 28. Yeah, we already did that one. 29. What do you have for A, Leah?
A person's attitude affects the way they deal with conflict.
Yes. And what do you have for B, Cody?
I have if you give up, you'll never win. Not sure where I got the first from.
Okay. What do you have for B?
Her, well, I just copied part of the story for the sake of that. So I have, her heart felt cold and heavy, but John seemed to let her tell herself.
And that's how he dealt with conflict. Yeah. I guess that'll work. They have, that Mr. Little and his children were cheerful and content. They responded cheerfully even when they lost their house and they started over. So that's what they're saying, that he dealt with conflict, the conflict losing his house. C, they have, this example shows their good attitude toward life while behind the conflict.
Would you be cheerful if you got kicked out of your house?
The guy who picks me out might get kicked himself.
Well, sometimes that's not an option.
Well, I'm not grown up yet, so I can still get away with it.
Two points apiece.
Over there?
So, each one wrong is 2 points.
Okay. Hey, for 12, I have a question.
Yes.
So 11 was, the answer was third person.
Yes.
So, and they said 12, the answer was B.
Yes.
And this third person, how did they experience the story mostly from Susan's perspective?
Because it was mostly talking about Susan. Because even in third person, you can't be everywhere at once, generally speaking. You tend to think about it in one person's perspective.
I know, but I have.
But, so if it was in first person, it would be referring to, like, you would be taking Susan's place. Like, as any
Yeah, I
thought that she
know,
had, she
but,
would be
like,
saying.
I have C because third person, people know what you can know what everyone's thinking. A first person, you can't really, unless you say Dinky thought, like in the Mad Scientist Club, it's just Charlie. You just, that's all you, that's the only person you can see that's thinking. But the rest of them, you can't really see their thoughts or anything. And that would be first person again.
Would have to read the thing again, I really contest with you on that one. It's been a long time since I read that story. I would say stick with B for now. It seems the most logical one to place.
What did you have to do for now? Besides
C.
that's what I had too.
Seems to me like B is still the most logical.
Not really. When you think of seeing it from one person's point of view, your mind is not to third, it goes to first. That's more characteristic of first person. You don't.
It is more characteristic of first person, yes, but generally speaking, you still tend to write something, even in third person, from one person's perspective.
I know, but it said what effect does that, what effect does the point of view have in the story? You don't, yeah, whatever. When you think of third person, you tend to think of what me and Christopher had.
I don't know, not necessarily. Kind of maybe, but I don't think necessarily. I don't think all the time. All right. interesting story about a man who planted oak for your happiness. Everybody is with me on lesson 7
What?
on in literature.
Oh, not it.
Right?
We have a quiz on it.
Hmm?
We now have a quiz on it.
Should be helpful, right?
Isn't it all the way lesson 11?
No. We're only going to do 3 lessons. So 8, 9,
I was thinking of 10.
do 8, 9, 10. Yeah, so 11 and then quiz. So,
11 is mine, I
yeah, next month. So you have to do. You're gonna be going Wednesday as well. That's correct. Yeah. So, yeah,
did 22 through 24.
you didn't do 22 through 24.
Well, I need help on
I'm
22.
not
Just
sure.
It's 22C.
Are we skipping a day? Are we skipping Friday?
Why?
Because they're going to music.
There's
We're
one
already Thursday and Friday.
Not enough people are leaving.
I'm just saying.
It's 22.
It's not.
Are any of the teachers?
Yeah, the same.
Well, if Miss Amy's going, what is Z gonna do?
Or stay home. Which one did you say it is?
C.
No.
B. That's the only other one.
It's wild guessing. All right.
Well, then I don't know.
Did you get the 22 to 24, Susan?
If it's not C, then I don't know.
All right. Number 1 is C. 2 is C. 3 is B. 4 A. 5 is C. 6 A. 7 A. 8 is C. 9, Jean Giano. Spell that like Frenchman. And you're fine. 10 is C, 11 B, 12 B, 13 C, 14 B, 15 A, 16 B, 17 C, 18 B, 19 D, 20 B, 21 D, 22 B, 23 D, 24 B, 25 Lord Byron, 26 Noah Webster, 27 Milton, 28 the Apostle Paul, 29 Ollie Hoppet, 30 B, 31 D, 32 B, 33 A, 34 C. Do we need a grade on that? 97.
Since when did they start making it through the same for?
I don't know. I don't like when they make us do the same story twice. They're doing that in 9 and 10 too.
It's just all of a sudden.
Should make it easier, huh?
No.
Then they're 11, 12, 13.
Complicated questions.
You read the lesson function.
Yeah. Yeah, it wasn't possible.
We already have to do it every week. What is it? Read it rightly.
Yeah, we could
Skip it.
probably wind up skipping that one.
We-
Would you agree with it?
Uh,
synecdoche, if you were wondering how to pronounce that, that's how you pronounce it.
I know, but.
7 or 8.
On page 20. Basically, synecdoche is a tool. Basically, where you mention by some terminology that something more is going on than what you're actually saying. Like, it can be a little hard to discover synecdoche, I guess.
Yeah, I just realized that is one of the weirdest things I've ever seen in my whole entire life.
Like in writing it? Writing it?
Yeah.
Basically, it's being able to hint at something that you didn't say, right? So, like the author says, men and women, boys and girls who have recovered a taste for picnics. Doesn't mean, I mean, everybody loves a picnic, but basically what they're saying is, well, now it's time to go have a picnic again. Whereas before, I don't know what was going on. They were, it's sad and cold or something. Or it says basically the thing about picnics is that picnics also mean other things. I mean freedom, lightheartedness, and joy in living. And rather than going on and stating all those things specifically, he says they've recovered a taste for picnics, and that just automatically tells you, well, I mean everything's fine because people are having picnics, they're happy and comfortable. Anyway, so like for example, without synecdoche, you could say the boy said, "Did you see my dad's new car?" Which is fine.
Which is what a normal boy would say.
Not necessarily. I think I probably would have tended toward, "Did you see my dad's new set of wheels?" That shows pride and happiness in your dad's choices, so on and so forth. Where "Did you see my dad's new car?" is only referring to the fact that his dad got the car, and doesn't really say how he felt. You can go anywhere from there.
So, do you know something?
Well,
That's right.
I'll give you. I'll make it seem like you want first of all. If I help you on that. But so let me think. So you want to show? Let's say you want to show horror. How would you show horror? What's something that happens? Or maybe you might rather do anger. Anger maybe is or frustration, but you're feeling some right now. Maybe it's an easier one to feel than horror. So let's say just thinking about frustration. What's one thing you do when you're frustrated? You go back in the Bible days, they talked about tearing their clothes or gnashing with teeth, and that shows frustration and anger in a very real and vivid way. You don't have to say that people are angry if they're tearing their clothes and gnashing their teeth. It's very, very vivid what emotion they're dealing with. So what's something you see when people are frustrated? You see, what happens?
I'm looking at you guys. You look kind of like we do all the time. So I'm not sure if that will do.
So we're looking for some things that people do when they're feeling these emotions, and that's how we're going to express how they're feeling. Rather than saying they're horrified, we'd say they went numb from the sheer, whatever, something about going numb from this massive, horrifying experience. So you might think about the experience before you can start to do this stuff. So joy, where are we coming from?
I don't know yet. I'm still lost.
You can also use boredom. You can use, you don't have to necessarily stick with these ones.
The boy yawned loudly during church. Is that tiredness?
Twiddle your afternoon.
Now we're heading somewhere. Yawning from in church, I mean, could be.
This is for the Empire.
What's something else a board boy does? What's excitement?
They scream.
You guys sound prejudiced against the poor boys.
That's because the boys that we talk about.
That's what I was gonna say.
I don't scream.
I don't even.
Well, I have a little brother.
I don't want to just tell you.
He's a lot of us.
But what I'm saying, I'm trying to kind of walk you through the decision-making process here with,
That's what you
with
think.
how the synecdoche works.
You said this. I have a kitten.
The problem is, these things are harder to come up with than if you say, most often you wind up using the synecdoche, like when you're actually in editing, when you're going through, it's like, how could I write that more concisely and make it mean more?
All hands on deck. Yeah, you want to get all men on deck.
Right, so the captain, I mean, whatever, the captain doesn't, yeah, like a normal thing the captain would say wouldn't be, get all men on deck, it's all hands on deck, and that kind of shows the commanding voice and the way that they work. Like, this book actually has a,
There's quite a few in there.
Can you just read
Things
that
like-
part where they went driving again?
well, it's actually really full of this. It's actually really full of that, this type of writing, like, because it was edited so hard for this. Like just something like this sentence right here. It says, a big bean truck was coming our way taking more than its share. Mrs. Dowdall's shoulder came up, but she didn't say anything. But you know what she's thinking as her shoulder comes up.
Yeah.
You know, they're cringing for fear of getting the bean truck.
Like that?
It's like,
What's a bean truck though?
it's a truck full of beans.
Beans?
Yeah. Soybeans, generally.
Is that the one where he goes into the ditch and comes back out?
Yeah. Whew, said Mrs. Wilcox, and I shot off the road to give the bean truck all the room there was. But it was a shoulder, not a ditch. We threw gravel and bounced hard, but I got a swerve back and thumped up on the hard top. So on and so forth.
I don't know.
I want you to be able to try to think through that. You can leave it and come back if you want.
Yeah,
but,
so we know the lesson
No.
yet. You wanna have one?
Hmm?
You wanna try?
You only have to write one. Or something like this. This is also synecdoche. Mrs. Dell swung open the door and began to fight her way out. Get the song, she told me. Then she looked in the back seat. And you stay in the car, Effie. It's rough underfoot. And if you broke a leg, we'd have to shoot you. So that's also kind of synecdoche. Obviously, would have shot her, but you don't think. We don't know Mrs. Dell. Wouldn't put anything past her. But
She might have. In this book, long way to Chicago, the coffin lid started to open, and she just grabbed the shotgun and just blasted the coffin.
Oh no.
Well,
He's still alive.
I don't know. Like,
no, it was a cat.
What was it?
Wasn't it?
I didn't get that far. I just got that far, and then you said it was time to go. So I'd have to
it was
look.
a cat
I
though.
think it was a cat.
Yeah,
the cat was-
get back in there, shotgun! You've had your time. Boom.
Whoa.
Blazes
Some of her
away the
snowball bushes
coffin.
out.
And the other two that were in there.
Anyway, yeah, it really held everyone's attention for a minute. Oh dear.
The girl yawned and glanced at the clock during church.
Synecdoche. All right. 8th grade. We have a quiz.
Language.
And some tests, yes, in language. Okay, we also have a quiz. Yes. That's why I didn't feel too bad about piling the work on me today.
After all, it's on Monday.
It is a Monday. I'm trying to be nice, but it's not.
In other words, we could skip one.
No. And lesson 9. Check it.
I went and started with like 2 subjects and then we finished in the next.
Well, there'll be time this afternoon. And this shouldn't take all that long. Hope not.
You know what would really be good?
The donut.
I do. Yes, but a lot of coffee would really help me get excited about this day.
Okay.
Mr. Kent's like, that's good to know. File that away for another time.
Exactly. So number 1 on page 31. Verb that has no receiver for the action, and 2 is a verb that has a receiver for the action. Number 3, VT in package. 4 is VI. 5 VT, car circle. 6 VT in subway. 7 VI. 8 VT in foundation.
How was the circle in 7?
In 7, it's an intransitive, so there's no circle.
Oh.
Intransitive verbs have nothing receiving that action. 9 is transitive and chair. 10 is transitive and water. 11, intransitive. Cody and Chris, give me an example of a transitive verb in a sentence.
I played the guitar.
So what?
I played the guitar.
Okay. What's receiving the action?
Guitar.
Okay. Chris, what do you got?
I played the marbles.
Okay. Marbles. Okay. What do you have for 13? Have you not been with us this morning?
No, I haven't. Not until I heard Cody saying the sentence.
Right. So 13 is, what do you have for that?
I played until I fainted.
Okay. What do you have, Liv?
The girl screamed very loud and I walked into the room.
All right.
Is that wrong? I went played with my food.
Yes, unfortunately that's wrong, isn't it? As something kind of receiving that action. All right, I will write a note about Richard's malfeasance, and then I will work on that in a minute.
Check the mark where I.
Yeah, put a mark for me.
So for 12, I played the game. That would be right. Right?
Yes, that would be right. 14 and 15. We'll jump over those for now. We don't have time. 16, business. Chapter, verse, hour, and minute. 17, direct and indirect. In that order. 18, quotation marks from you know, and from I was just thinking to myself down to table after the question mark. And then in the next sentence, paragraph thing, I'd love you to sit by me, quotation marks around that. Then no sir by me, after the exclamation, and by me, after the exclamation again. I know what, and from the lead to themselves. 19, somebody, underlined. 20, anyone is underlined, and 21 neither is underlined. 22, has anyone. 23 is neither.
What happens if I got R needed?
That's 1 point. I think it's a singular indefinite, so it needs to have a singular verb. 24. You should have, do you like the gift that Jennifer sent? And 25, Jared is the man that or whom you can call about your car problems.
I have who.
who works, I guess. Not technically very correct, but it kind of works. 26, passive and were intended. 27, active, enjoyed. 28, 6 should be written out, and 43rd should be written out on 29.
Should be written out.
Should be written out.
Like
Wait.
in words or numbers?
Oh, I see what they did. They just decapitalized the third.
Yeah.
That's all they did.
What the?
Cruel.
Yeah, I remember that, but.
Well, technically I got it right then, because I crossed it out. Decapitalized the third.
All right. 31 is accumulate. 32 is tycoon. 33 is Pluto. 34 is duo. 35 is tunic. 36 is Q. 37 impudence. 38 transmute. 39 induce. 40 cuticle. 41 Neptune. 42 truce. 43 duplex. 44 excuse. 45 ruse. 46 fuel. 47 aluminum. 48 dispute. 49 rune. And 50 is fluke. Those are 1, 2, 3, 4, 6, 7, 8, 9, 60. Kind of 1 point piece. 1 point piece. So close, I'm not going to worry about it any further.
What is it?
1 point apiece?
No, how many points is it?
100.
Oh.
Close.
96.
So,
So what? 97? Yeah, 3 wrong would be a 97.
I'm-
4 wrong would be a 96. 5 wrong would be a 95. So on and so
didn't we
forth.
do 1 and 2, didn't we do 1 through 10 or 1 through 11 in class?
No, we do all of them. Wait.
Okay, well, I don't think I got any of those wrong, but I'm not gonna write a grade. I don't think I got any of those wrong, but I'm not gonna write a grade.
Yeah. Just, yeah, hand it in, I'll make sure it goes. All right.
Is there any penmanship on that?
Huh?
Any penmanship on that?
No. Yes, there kind of is. Rewrite that paragraph, add in quotation marks.
Rewrite it?
Punctuation.
You have to rewrite it another piece.
What?
That's what they say. Hang on a second.
Okay,
Kick
not
their
happening.
Kick their bucket. I'm not doing that.
I just really don't feel like being merciful on it.
Will you?
You already put Bible on
Hey,
it.
think about that
Terrible,
podcast.
isn't it?
Yeah.
It was going to be a free study period otherwise. Bible,
That's
pretty
good.
much already done. All right. So what we're going to do?
No, I don't know my math thing, or my language, or my reading, then, or my history, then, or my.
Pretty sure you'll be okay. That's what I'm reading up. I'm not going to grade your penmanship on that, but I better be able to read it.
So we don't have.
So I'm not going to look specifically for everything, but I do need punctuation. Say what?
Mr. Grant, if you do the rest of the quiz in cursive, then can you just add in the stuff?
The whole quiz will be our penmanship grade, and we'll just add in the quotation marks then.
Yeah.
Please.
I'm not grading your penmanship. What we're grading is paragraphing and quotation marks.
Yeah, so we don't need to rewrite it out. We can just put the quotation marks in.
I like how they just, or I don't like it, like they literally just went and decided that wasn't hard enough. So we'll just try and see what we can to make it harder.
Explain to me what a germ is.
And
A
diabolical
ing.
form of a verb
Give me an
intended to
example.
trip up
Give me an
innocent
example of
eighth
something you
graders.
could possibly have as a germ.
Fishing. Driving.
Fishing, that'd be good. Fishing for compliments.
One of the grandma was, I read it in Reader's Digest, and the grandma was like, her younger grandma was like, Grandma, is Grandpa older than you? fishing for a compliment, so she's like, yes, why do you say that? It's like, wow, his mustache is bigger than yours.
That's a good trick to check. Oh, shucks. All right,
I know.
positives. What's a positive?
Verb form uses an adjective.
No, afraid you're wrong.
It's something that
Verb form
renames
uses a noun.
a noun. which
It renames the subject without using a linking verb.
Actually, never mind, I'm not gonna use that one. It's too easy.
It's about time we had something easy for once. Hint, hint.
That wasn't a hint. You just boldly said that.
I like when you throw the hint in there. The hinting thing. You
It
are
just-
hinting.
it kind of kills the hinting move.
I know.
All right.
But it does make so you can ask without asking, kind of.
What's the positive? This positive or it is
Peter
it?
and Janice.
Peter and Janice, right? What is it renaming? Cody?
Friends.
Friends. That's correct. All right. Passive and active voice. How can you tell whether something's passive or active voice?
And
By the brilliantness in your brain.
How does that work for you?
if the subject's doing the action, then it's active.
Okay.
Otherwise, not known as no clue.
So if I would say, Tildy was pushed over a cliff, is that active or passive voice? That's passive, right? Because something happened to Tildy, she didn't do it. But if Tildy drove off the cliff, that would be active because Tildy was doing the action.
Tilly drew up on the street. And the drivers.
Oh dear. Well, that sounds like a threat. All right. I have to rewrite some sentences. Passive and active.
Or so.
Nice.
Pass out.
You'll complain a lot, but you'll do it. All right. As we push somebody else
I got something now.
over the bridge. English.
Yep. We're not there yet.
We did not do anything from 6 to 17, or we should not have done anything in English from 6 to 17, and we're not going to worry about it now either.
We didn't even have to check.
So that means there's no checking. So that means we just jump straight into talking about the quiz.
We got there.
What is the difference between present perfect and present progressive?
Present perfect.
Where is my rough draft?
Where is my teeth?
Yeah, where is my teeth?
Present perfect has and have.
Say again.
Present perfect has and have.
Has and have.
Present perfect progressive. Or present.
Well, just give me present progressive. Or is it?
And it's our.
Okay, what about present perfect progressive?
Have been.
You're supposed to identify the tense of the underlying
Just
verbs.
for then and have.
So, was fishing would be
Present progressive.
present progressive. Well, then what's is fishing?
Oh, no. Oh, that one before, is that past?
Was fishing.
Is past.
Yeah, that's past progressive.
Is fishing would be present progressive. will be fishing is
Will be
future progressive.
I have a question.
Or what about will have been fishing?
We'll have then it's future perfect progressive. I think it's the same.
Christie,
At least you can say them.
can you spell them?
No,
I can't spell.
It's like the,
probably, yeah.
like the silly Dr. Seuss story about the worm and the rabbit.
No.
You can see pretty far, but how far? No, you can hear pretty far, but how far can you smell?
What's past perfect progressive?
What is past perfect progressive for fishing or for fishing? Past perfect progressive.
I have been fishing.
Have been,
Had been.
Yeah,
I think so.
I know.
it's had been.
No.
Had been, not have been.
Have been
Had
is
been,
present
have been
perfect
is
progressive.
right. Have been fishing would be present perfect progressive.
Just make
But just have been is what? I have been.
Is
I have been under the bridge for a long time.
past perfect.
Yeah.
That's what I think so. You don't have to do, so you have progressives and perfect progressives.
We have what?
There's gonna be progressives and perfect progressives.
Okay, that's
So
easy.
no.
That is ours for present progressive.
I mean, present, yeah, so it's like present progressive, present perfect, past progressive, past perfect, and future progressive, and future.
Well, one thing I will note is the present perfect progressive, they always have been, all three of them have been, or we have been, yeah. They all
Have been, will have been.
Those have been.
All right, is real an adverb or an adjective?
Adverb. Adjective.
Give us a second.
Okay, so if I would say I really liked how fast that car took off. Would
That would be an adverb.
right, so you would use,
Because it's really.
because it's really, yes, the ly kind of is the way.
I don't
What do you say?
know.
What do you say? I don't know that, I don't know how to skateboard very well, or very good.
That would be
Which one would you use?
Good is adjective.
Well is,
Both.
so would you say, I don't know how to skateboard very well?
Yeah.
I don't know how to skateboard very.
Good.
Very good.
Very well, son.
I don't know how to skateboard, period.
Well, I have that problem as well, but, yeah. What about some and somewhat? I think that one,
Some is adjective.
It's usually
somewhat is
somewhat.
adverb.
They usually.
Adverb is somewhat.
unless you're saying, I want some, I want some toast.
Somewhat goes.
I want some more toast.
I want somewhat.
You do not have to write the thing out, the paragraph out, you have quotation marks. And you need to know the difference between where you need italics and quotation marks. Poem titles, you need,
Oh my word.
What did you say?
poem titles, you need italics or quotation marks.
Poem title, like short ones are quotations, long ones
Okay.
are underlined.
So generally speaking, it's going to be
So
quotation.
what about shit?
Shit.
A ship
Underline.
would be underlined.
Underlined.
Basically, if any vehicle has a name, it needs to be underlined. So, like spaceships, airplanes.
They'll always be underlined.
Yes. Magazines,
Underline.
songs.
Quotations.
Basically, if it's short, it's quotations. If it's long or impressive, in some strange way, it's like that. Objective compliments. The explosion made Mr. Kent happy.
What are we supposed to do again?
What's the objective compliment in that sentence? The explosion.
Happy,
I'm gonna abbreviate some stuff here. The explosion made Mr.
Mr.
Kent
Kent
happy.
and happy happy
Was
is
made
the,
happy.
Mr. Kent is happy, you can say. So that would mean happy would be the objective complement. Is it being used as an adjective or noun?
Rich. Adjective.
Happy.
Adjective, yeah, adjective.
happy is an adjective.
They're going to use more difficult ones. You ready? I want your books. You can hand it in. Put it in, that's fine. I'm working for grading.
Mr. Kent,
Yes.
is the Apostle Paul one big happy noun?
The is an article. Always. Apostle Paul, you know, honestly, if you put apostle as an adjective, that would be fine. I probably won't count you wrong for that. But it's supposed to be a proper. I mean, it's supposed to be a noun.
Yeah,
It's a proper.
Apostle Paul, you could.
Apostle Paul would be a noun. But if you have apostle as an adjective, that will probably not fight or scream or throw things.
Throw things.
So what?
Throw things.
I know a guy who would do that.
He would.
Yeah. He was a welder. A very good friend of mine.
And when he got mad, he would have stuff.
Mostly people would scare him. He'd just throw whatever was in his hand right at them.
Yeah.
And sometimes there were heavy objects, and sometimes it was a wonder somebody didn't get brained with a 5-pound sledge.
Did it happen to you?
It never happened to me, no. That's why I was still his friend.
Gary Yoder threw a knife at David Hertzler because he was doing something with a knife and David Hertzler snuck up behind him and scared him. He just, yeah!
Is that in church he threw a song about?
Yeah, that was right out in front. Like that.
Right then.
And somebody went like this.
That would be almost as embarrassing as knocking the song we've had here.
Maybe it was Calvin and Hobbes, but he said something like, when Dad gets mad, he usually just throws whatever's in his hand at you. So then he had like an illustration when his dad was laying some bricks, making a wall. It's
Bad
like,
time.
Bad time to screw up. Then he had when his dad was reading the newspaper. He's
Good.
like, good time to screw up.
Yeah.
Like he had the art of being bad all down pat.
He had it nailed down. Yes,
I
sir.
need help.
Me too. Why does nobody help me?
You're supposed to be the one that has all the answers.
I'm supposed to be the one who has all the answers? Answer easy.
So this one, saw a few fish darting around the pool. That was cool. And saw a few fish. And then darting would be a. It looks like a verb.
I'm guessing.
So it's a gerund. I have no idea where it goes.
It's not actually a gerund. I should have talked
Mr.
about
Kent,
that.
is this right?
Yes.
It is?
Yes.
But like,
It is a verb being used as,
Adjective.
so that means it's
participle.
Now I'm ready to look at the dashboard. Mr. Kent,
Sir.
Starburst are great morale boosters, right?
Can be. Can also rot your teeth.
You probably should have been
Yeah, teacher, so that's better. That's what teachers do. I bet you did that.
Mr. Kent, this is a huge
Quiz.
paragraph.
Go paragraph.
Mr. Kent, that's the add the hint bit.
No, I got the hint. That's not what we're talking about at this point. Mr. Kent has heard the hint.
also pull
Yeah.
one now.
Look as long as.
Well, I don't want to run out of time.
I'll just work on something else.
We're out of time.
Go down.
Okay, is the Apostle Paul run?
Go down to where it says accept Allen.
Hey, Richard, the Apostle Paul is that one right
Yeah.
now. It is?
So where it says that, right, stop right there. But mark your quotations on there after that.
Do what?
Or go down to where it says accept Allen. There you go, but mark your quotations and things past there. And if you need a paragraph at that point, make sure you mark it in.
We still have a lot to read.
Yeah, well. I don't get a thank you, Mr. Kent? Does that mean
Thank you,
just-
Mr.
Thank you.
I was gonna say, maybe Chris still just wants to write the whole thing, I don't know.
You took some work away from me. How dare you?
My foot. I don't know
Which
what
one,
that
your
is.
hind one?
It's how you look, yes.
Two back.
Look, I don't know what that's.
You guys are.
Oh, goodness.
You said you want to be able to read this?
Yes.
Well, we're not sure if he's going to be able to.
You'll want to make sure I can read it.
Well,
For 19, for Apostle Paul, they also have, they did it the way I said, but they also have it with Paul as an appositive, which
What?
is interesting.
What the?
But they have, it's a possibility, it's another way to do it, right?
Yeah, it's just.
I have Apostle
Totally.
Paul as the noun.
Yeah, that's fine. They just had, one of the possibilities is Paul would be the appositive, which kind of boggles my mind.
You're saying we have to write down to Alan?
Yes.
Oh, it's a Allen.
So, can you kind of help me a little bit? So
What can I do for you?
you would write all this up down here, and then you would start a new paragraph?
I would.
If you don't get it.
Well, that would be the other thing, yes.
So, and then you would just start another paragraph right here.
Make sure you put periods and things when you need them as well. Punctuation. Chris?
I'm struggling
Oh, me too.
with 13 and 14 and the 1 through 11.
You can all
13 and 14, objective complements.
Number 8.
It's basically, you look for a direct object, and then you do the direct object is,
Okay, God is helper.
okay?
Is that such a thing?
Yeah.
Okay, and then friends found her generous with her resources. She gave much money to mission. She gave money, but then we don't have it.
But 2 missions is what?
It's a, it's an English
Well,
That's an infinity.
The prepositional phrase. Yeah, it's a thing.
his missions is a noun. All right. Friends found her generous, so
Her is generous,
what's her?
direct object.
And what's the objective complement?
And then
Her is generous.
if it was she,
Friends found her with her, or is
Her
her
what?
is resources.
that's just a word. No, we don't want it. Her is generous with her resources is the
Yes,
prepositional phrase.
that's correct.
So it has to be there.
Has to be.
If we're just gonna go. And then, do you just want me to give my best bet on these? Make them up, because I'm just writing stuff.
At this point, about the only way to learn them is to just simply practice them, and then sometimes you get them wrong. I imagine you'll do fairly well, because you remember, like, if something's progressive, it's going to have what behind it, obviously. ING, which we don't have to worry about that, they all do. So basically, the thought is this past, is the present, or the future?
Was
It
passed.
is, right.
But, so these all have ing, but does that even tell me anything?
Not particularly in this case, because they're all progressive, right? So the thing is, if it's perfect, it's going to have what?
I don't have any
Two.
futures in
General statement.
There's no future.
there. There's no future.
Has been running.
It's will. Will is
Present.
future.
Perfect. Progressive.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So, the more verbs, the longer the name.
Roughly so. When I grow up, I want to write a simplified version of the English language using Mandarin Chinese.
But it's not English anymore.
The trick is that it's a simplified version of the English language using Mandarin.
That really doesn't make sense. How does
English
that
is
make sense?
right up there with Mandarin as far as which one is the most complicated.
I know, but
You're
you're
just
right.
the least
Simplified
complicated.
version of English with Mandarin.
That's the joke.
Can you help me on versus simulation?
I can sure give you the world.
Maybe you can help me on.
Might be able to help. Who knows?
Right. That's not what you need to say. You guys are trying to think.
What are some things you're doing that could outlast you? There's nothing you're doing that could outlast you?
I don't know.
Or you could be involved in. There's, you don't even have to do this necessarily. Something you could go do that could outlast you.
Missionary work. Yeah, last week.
Okay.
That's one of them.
Okay.
Alright, either one. I don't know, how many do you have to have?
Oh, I don't know. It says list, so that's more than one. Probably more than two as well. I'll give it a good solid 3 because there's 3 blanks. Seems a lot.
Okay, so what if you would write your reputation?
Oh, your reputation could outlast you.
Or your examples?
Examples, do you think could outlast you?
It could.
How about teach somebody to read?
That's actually pretty good.
I mean, it's not
Teaching them-
long, it's not a lot.
Teaching them to, yeah, teaching them elsewhere.
Which one do you mean?
How do you know? You might begin to like.
Okay, if I make your example, then what do you do with that?
Someone
I want 3 examples because there's 3 blanks. I just
Give
think
me
of
the
a
answer.
project you could do that could
I know,
outlast you.
that's all I have to do is look at the answer, give them the answer.
Here's the answer to this one.
Alright,
Except for some other
we have a spelling test.
Work on artificially.
We're not getting water out of
Wait, Billy.
it. You know what, my dad, he was drawing a way to get out of like the water to get like really snuff out. And he has someone that will take his drawing in Washington DC.
Yeah.
They can give him, Mom was telling Dad that he has to price it up really high.
Are we having any panic attacks about
No, spelling not really.
Ready for it?
you're ready
Cool
for
as
it?
a cucumber.
Can I have you some?
No.
You're cool.
Not ready.
You're not ready for them?
Can I have my language, Mr. Ken, to work in?
Yes, you can.
Would you rather have me work in algebra? I'd rather not be doing algebra.
I would honestly rather have you working out.
I just don't know how to spell. Which words are they?
Okay, let's just come up here and we'll just rip through a couple of them real quick, the hardest ones. Everybody's come and grab a thing or real quick. We'll do like 3 minutes worth of this.
Be grumpy.
Richard, Leah. Say what? I hope not.
That would be a good one.
There's a new red one. Alright, Leah.
What?
Induce.
There it is.
Chris. Aluminum. Richard. Transmute. And Toby. Accumulate.
What convolution?
Aluminum. Yes, it's not aluminum. Or aluminium.
Aluminum.
Aluminium. Alright. And Leah. Dispute. And Chris. Q. And Richard. Impudence. And Cody. Q. And boy, those are basically the hard ones.